It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
I have created the most advanced AI soldier.
The wait is over. Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+.
We are looking for something you've discovered. And some of us will stop at nothing to get it.
Ready?
The countdown is complete.
There's no going back.
Our directive is clear.
Hang on!
Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I'm going to talk about romantic objectification in Limerence. So, Limerence ending in TS. So, people who tend toward Limerence, which ends in CE, are Limerent people. And you can read all about Limerence in the original book by Dorothy Tennov on Love and Limerence from many decades ago. But basically, Limerence is extreme preoccupied attachment. You are in that romantic infatuation stage, and if you keep getting rejected or your limerence is unrequited, you can kind of stay in the limerence stage forever. So there's these extremes. There's people who are obsessed with celebrities, and they'll be in love with this celebrity and think about them all the time. I'm reading a novel, Superfan, that's about that. It's interesting. Good book. There's limerence within your marriage. So you're just obsessed with the person and everything that they do. You're so into them. But here's the thing. That only continues if they are rejecting. Because otherwise, if they're not rejecting, then you stop because you realize that they're a real person. So they love you back, you love them, and then you can get out of the honeymoon stage. So basically, limerence is kind of an immature state where it's like an unrequited crush versus mature love that's more reciprocal and mutual and back and forth. When you are the preoccupied attachment partner and you're in this limerent state with your partner, it amplifies and exacerbates their avoidant attachment. You know why? Because you're objectifying them. Literally, they are, in the terminology of limerence, called the limerent object. That's not any different than a sex object. It doesn't feel any different than if a partner is just having sex with you and flipping you into a million positions, not making eye contact, and just they want to experience certain activities and you're the body that they have to do that with. With a limerent person, they want to experience a romantic high. That's how they medicate for their underlying depression or attachment issues. You don't become limerent if you grew up in a very happy home, because then you're drawn to mutual, reciprocal, romantic relationships in adulthood. If you're a limerent, then by definition, pretty much you had unrequited love as a kid. You're always trying to get your parents' attention and you never really could. No fault of their own. They were struggling with their own shit. Nobody is blaming anybody. But the point being, you got to understand what you're dealing with to understand why you may be so romantic. And are you really being a good partner, though, if it has nothing to do with how the limerent object feels? Or are you just objectifying them? So one really good example, I just saw a reel about coming up behind your wife and giving her a hug while she's doing the dishes. I'll link this thing. He doesn't talk about limerence, but it just gave me the idea for this, coupled with an article that I did just read about limerence. A woman who was so addicted to limerence that she didn't lose her virginity till she was 41 because she just kept getting into these new relationships, like just a couple dates or something. And she didn't want to have sex with those people because it was supposed to be this magnificent, perfect thing. And so she was just addicted to this dopamine rush of the infatuation stage. And I'll link that in the episode notes as well. But so the guy who comes up behind his wife and he's like, wants to like hug her. I'm not even talking about grab her boobs. I'm not even talking about it. So in the video, he has all these, different points about mental load and read the room and just turning it into sex, all these touchstones of current, cultural relationship, this moment, this zeitgeist. But it was interesting because I've seen this in my Limerent clients too. They're not even trying to grab the boobs. They have this idea in their mind, this romantic idea that they should come up behind their wife. No matter what she's doing, she should melt into them. And that is the experience that they're going for. And it has nothing to do with how busy she is. It has nothing to do if she has a startle reflex. It has nothing to do if she is about to get her period. It has nothing to do with her. He wants the object to provide that experience. It would be no different than if he wanted to have sex and she's just laying there saying, I'm not into it, but he forces the issue. It's the same objectification and not really caring what the person thinks. And of course, more women than men are preoccupied attachment and read relationship content or obsessed with relationships. That's a million reasons for that. Women are more relational in how they are trained. I think some of that's biology too. Infant girls look at faces more. Infant boys look at mobiles more. Mobiles that are just objects above the bed. Point being, there's more preoccupied attachment women, and they'll say like, I'm being such a good wife because I read like 37 books on relationships in the past month, and I planned all these romantic date nights, and I bought lingerie, and I want to have like a romantic discussion about, like our fantasies and our goals, and then, I ordered his favorite shirts from Brooks Brothers and his favorite coffee for all the way from Kenya, and it's like, calm down. Jesus Christ, this is crazy. This isn't about him. Yeah, you got like a bullet point list of like his favorite coffee, but if you were with another guy, you just replace that with their damn favorite beverage and order that from a different country, and then you hand it to him, and then you look at him like, like he's only supposed to like break into song, and be like beyond enthusiastic, wrap you up in his arms, but he's getting these fucking packages and paying for the privilege every 3 seconds, because this is your romantic fantasies. You're objectifying him. He had a bad day at work. Guess what? He doesn't want to go on another date night. You just went on a damn date night. How many date nights do you need? But in our culture, it's really flipped from like 20 years ago when it was like avoidant was the thing, like you were cool. You're like cool if you're avoidant. Now it's increasingly changing quite a bit among young women, at least. And then, those are who's posting, and everybody starts to change, when the young people change, that the preoccupied attachment are considered healthy. The more needy and clingy you are, the more you objectify romance. No, that's not healthy either. It's not healthy to spend that much time thinking about your partner. It's just straight up not. And the only reason that you're doing it when they don't like it is because you have a need to be limerent, and you could be very addicted to the dopamine rush that it gives you. I have a post about love addiction, podcast about love addiction, and it's very, very similar. It's really the same. And there's a book, When You Love Too Much, by Stephen Arboretum. Can't be Arboretum. I think it's Arboretum. Arboretum's with the trees. But it's a good book too. And if you are engaging in these romantic activities or these meaningful, deep relationship activities, or sending all this relationship content, and the person is increasingly in fight or flight or freeze, oh my God, another 3 reels I gotta, watch, or else I don't like her. Now, of course, there are bids for affection, and that's normal. You want to send your husband a relationship reel every couple days? Cool. Or maybe he's the kind of guy that likes them. Maybe when you send them, then he sends them back. That's great. Then you guys have this thing going between the two of you. But check. A good way to see if you're objectifying your partner in this way is to check the texts. Are you, what's the ratio here? Is it 20 texts from you and 1 from them? You may be consuming so much relationship content that then you write them off as avoidant. But maybe they're not avoidant. Maybe they just are feeling uncomfortable. Maybe it would be like a man bombarding a woman with 20 different porn videos, literally. And that's how it feels. It's like, this isn't about me. You're sitting in some kind of revved up state, whether it's a limerent state or a sexually primed state, and you are using me and thinking it is hot or romantic, or somehow like this intense need that you have is coming up to fake connect with anyone, happens to be the partner, in this way. So it comes off very, very fake. And it is. If you think deeply about it, you could just replace anybody into the limerent object. And I'm sure you used to. If you're the limerent, you had crushes ever since you were little, really had nothing to do with the person at all. They just hit certain criteria and then you were off to the races. They looked the right way or they looked at you the right way. And then you invented kind of this whole fantasy about how perfect your life would be if they just reciprocated your love. But by coming on so strong and by never really examining why you continue to engage in this pattern and you don't read the room, and say, hey, my partner is tired right now. Why am I trying to look in their eyes and have a deep romantic connection? Didn't we, in fact, just have a deep romantic connection? In fact, if I think about it, sometimes I'll work with people like this in therapy, and they'll be like, we never spend time together. And I'll be like, didn't actually your husband just take you out? Because you told me about it. So you guys just went out to dinner. And they're like, well, yeah, but that was like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, how often the man got to take you to dinner for you to feel loved? Or is it not about that? Is it like an addiction? So we'd be saying to an alcoholic, how many drinks you just drank 2 weeks ago? They'll be like, yeah, but I drink multiple times a day to self-regulate. So basically that's the issue. Avoidant people use sex often to self-regulate, and limerent and preoccupied people use romantic connection to self-regulate. And when they can't get a partner to reciprocate at the massively intense level they need, then they use porn, or they use romantic novels, or they use romantic fantasy or sexual fantasy, or then they start getting on dating apps and talking to people or OnlyFans, and it doesn't matter. The sexual/romantic activation is a self-regulating mechanism. It has nothing to do with the person, and they feel it. They feel it. They feel very, very replaceable because they are. And if you're honest with yourself, you've done the same thing with previous partners. You have activated the limerent complex, the limerent industrial complex within yourself, and you've probably used similar pet names. You have just literally slipped in their interests into the things that you obsessively plan with the hope that then they're going to look at you happily. Like, this is a level beyond. And a lot of people, when they go to couples counseling, they sound like a real dick if they say something like, well, the issue here is he/she is always just planning a lot of romantic stuff. Like, it's like, but, oh, that's so great, though. Isn't that really great that they're expressing their love? And it's like hard for the person to be like, no, you don't get it. It's not about me. I'm like the audience. I'm like the add-on. I'm the sidecar to the Limerent show here. And, this is a very disconnecting sort of mechanism. You could think of it as addiction, and any addiction is distancing by definition, because the person is more into the object or the substance than they are into the person and the people that make up their life. And don't forget that when you're the limerent person, you're forgetting about your friends, you're forgetting about your family. A very good book on this is My Husband. I'll also link that one. So I have a lot to link. I should remember, because I'm never going to listen to this again, so I can't go back. But there's a lot of limerence in literature. Even Lolita, I mean, he was a pedophile and he was a limerent. I mean, this is all over. And the idea of the limerence is that it only exists until it's reciprocated. And at that point, there's no dopamine rush to trying to get this person to respond a certain way. So then you move on to another limerent object. All right, I hope this was interesting to you. And if you are somebody who is a limerent, get into individual therapy. I know you don't want to waste 1 second without your partner in the room. So of course you want to do couples therapy. So literally so that you get more time with them. Literally, that's why. That's the exact reason that it should be individual. All right, talk to y'all later. I hope you found this useful, and I will go link all those before I forget. Bye-bye, guys.